now. You took a second to find it also that day when you were trying to make me hear it.
Uh, uh, so this is kind of cute, but again, it's very rough. Yeah, it's very rough. I'm gonna play one that Joy has worked with. So this is something I'm pretty happy, proud of.
It's pretty groovy.
It's like got rap on it also.
Started as a game, now I drive myself insane. Yeah, I fuck up a lot of the place. Look at all of the things I did. They say, wrap it up, it's time to quit. I've been waiting to shine, gonna fuck with that blitz. I don't miss when I
That context.
Okay.
So that's what a studio visit is,
Okay.
you know, like in a conventional sense. But
Correct.
I'd love to hear from you what you thought a studio visit is initially, and if that's changed or anything, or just like how you see it now.
I think initially a studio visit to me would have been, because I feel like I'm quite biased from the music perspective of like studio being like a sound studio.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would have assumed that a studio visit is more like going to a sound studio that somebody owns and like sharing that experience with them, whether it's like in a collaborative sense.
Yeah.
Like that's what my understanding of a studio visit would have been.
Okay. Like going to someone's music studio and kind of like.
And just like collaborating with them on whatever that may be, but also like having spoken to you guys a little bit, like
Yeah.
I do understand that now it's like beyond music, it's
Yeah.
beyond like it like challenges that thing of art,
Yeah.
of like what is art, is it everything or is
Yeah.
it so like specific. So I think before like finding out what ADC was doing, like the studio visit concept would have been more sound based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Dude, it sounds very cliche, but like it's almost like art is everything.
Yeah.
Like everything has art in it. Whether you're a construction worker or like a musician or an artist or a dancer or whoever, like a visual artist or a dancer. So as cliche as it may sound, like I think art is like everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's in everything we do. Even like a finance baby has like a set of skills that they have like been disciplined around and have nurtured over time, and that itself is an art. An art.
How you conduct your sessions or how you communicate with your students.
Correct.
Just
correct.
honing that even is art to you.
Yeah, correct. It's beyond the like physical output of it.
Yeah.
Of like what you're doing with that knowledge. You've been in that disciplined sense, like kind of nurturing.
Yeah.
It's so that the output of that is like different.
Yeah.
But just nurturing that knowledge and being disciplined with something that I don't know is a personal thing to you.
Yeah.
You're not like obliged by any third party. That is in a sense to me, I guess, art.
Art, okay.
Yeah.
And then it could either be like an act of like collaboration, or I just want to know like how would that look like what does that look like in your head? Like a studio visit.
I mean, I feel like in a step-by-step kind of way, it would be that somebody either owns or has booked a studio for their practice and has invited musicians or other collaborators on board. And it's sort of just a space where ideas are bouncing around and like, it's just, it's a space of like expression in a way where there's no real like wrong answers, but it's just a space where everybody's sort of input is like equally valid. And in that sense, that's kind of what a studio visit would be.
Would look like to you.
Yeah, would look like to me. Because obviously I've spoken to you guys and like a little bit about how studio visits are supposed to be done or are conventionally done. So ignoring that, I would have thought that it was just collaboration.
Just collab. Same, I get that. Yeah.
But now little like I don't know, having like educated myself a little bit through you guys, like it feels like it's beyond that.
Yeah.
Like even an interaction itself can be a studio visit.
Yeah.
Like there doesn't need to be any outcome or any like collaboration, any piece of like art coming out of
Yeah,
it.
it can just be like getting to know
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
person's practice.
Correct.
Or yours.
Yeah,
like with
exactly,
them.
vice versa. Yeah.
Okay, so would you define yourself as an artist?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I
Okay,
feel like-
what's the criteria there?
Dude, I don't know if I'm being too like pseudo artist about it, this artiste about it, but
Yeah.
the criteria in my sense is the, how do you say, like the self motivation behind it, where you are creating a piece of art for yourself. And I think in those spaces, yeah, that is somebody being an artist.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the times in my practice, I'm like motivated by other, like external factors, whether it's a deadline or a friend or like any just collaboration, anybody else relying on me for that piece of
Right.
work. And as artistic as that is, it just feels like I don't consider myself an artist in that sense. But I'm kind of just a translator.
I
at
see,
that point.
I see.
Yeah.
So you help others almost get to their final vision,
Yeah.
but you don't feel like it's your vision
Yeah, I
more
don't
often than
yeah,
not. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, like there'll be times where I'm working on things which feel very personal and very like fulfilling, and that is when I would say, okay, I'm being an artist.
Yeah.
Beyond that, yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being creative, but I don't know. I can't. Again, I feel like I'm being too pseudo artiste about it.
Okay,
Where
no,
I
but
can't really differentiate between artist and creative, but it just feels like that's this thing.
so if I'm interpreting this correctly, I think what you're saying is that you feel most like an artist whenever you're making something that is when it's something that's fulfilling your vision, or like you're using your skills to fulfill like your own
Yeah, when
vision.
it's like coming from an internal desire to
Yeah,
create,
yeah.
and not an external desire or not an external like expectation to create. Like when it's just something internally that I'm like, okay, cool, plug and play, start. That feels very artistic to me. But when I'm like, for example, if it's like some corporate project that, as artistic as it is, it doesn't feel that like fulfilling to me. So that's why maybe I'd say sometimes I'd consider myself an artist.
Yeah, it's very time bound, like this definition.
Yeah.
So you would never be like, generally speaking, I am an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to say that just by proxy of like being a musician. That like yeah, sure, I am an artist.
Right.
Like, but just trying to like make more sense of the word, I feel like, yeah, that calling myself an artist I wouldn't generalize it to that sense.
Yeah, I mean, somehow I kind of like that. It makes me feel like like in a practical sense, it's like, okay, I am an artist, but it's, you've started to take that word a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
And so you're past the point of even just, just being like, oh, am I or am I not an artist? It's more so like, how much am I an artist?
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can even just spend some more time on that, I think, before we even move on to other stuff, because I think that's really interesting. Like, what would that change look like from you being,
A full-time
Time
artist.
artist.
yeah, like
Versus
versus
a
like,
part-time
oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What does full-time versus part-time artist look like to you?
Yeah.
What would that feel like, that change, that transition?
I feel like just kind of taking on projects and doing things that I want to do, as vague as that is, and not doing things that I'm doing to make an end meet. Like if I am purely creating art without any like preconceived notion of like, this person, I have to submit it to this person, or I have to submit it to this label, or like release it or whatever, I think that is when I would be like, okay, yeah, that's more of a full-time artist in that sense.
Yeah.
But just think of someone who's left that mark.
Yeah.
Anybody, right? Like, could be an artist, a writer, a family member, friend,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
your mechanic. It doesn't fucking
correct,
matter.
correct.
Just somebody who you look up to, kind of.
Yeah.
And like,
Whose
kind of.
work
Yeah.
Yeah.
also, like, specifically, not even just like
The
their
interpersonal,
personality
yeah.
traits,
Correct,
it's more
correct,
so
correct.
like what they
The-
do.
yeah,
What they do.
you know.
Yeah.
putting one person there is a little tough, but
Yeah.
generally, like, most of my, like, friendships, like, most of my, like, social circles, if there are people who are creating, like, great art, like you and Rohini, for example, your guys' work, like, inspires me a lot. Joy also is, like, a great inspiration to me. Like, so that, I think, plays the strongest role of, like, somebody I look up to and saying, like, this is it, this is art. Beyond, you know, the general mainstream musicians I listen to, like, I don't know, Suicide Boys and stuff, like, they have,
You're
like,
exposing yourself.
yeah, literally, I mean, it is what it is, like, they are, like, their kind of music, as questionable or as, like, I don't know, nuanced as it is, like, it does serve as an inspiration to me.
Yeah.
On a larger sense, on a very generalized sense. But on a more personal level, yeah, I think it's like how do you say, like, the relationships I have fostered and the people around me in my close circle who are creating their own forms of art. I think that is, like, by far the most inspiring. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah. Like,
That's really
beyond, yeah, I don't know, like your Suicide Boys, Harper type of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
What is, just for, like, people listening, like, what is it about that type of music that is, like, exciting to you? Like, what does it make you feel? Like, because I kind of get it. Like, I know the music. I can relate to it as well.
yeah.
You know, we grew up also listening to certain types of, like, we got into, like, trap and dubstep
Yeah,
and all this
exactly.
shit
Yeah,
together.
the Trap Nation.
Like, I know the
yeah.
feeling kind of intuitively that you're talking about, but I'd love for you to, like, put words to it. Like, just describe it a little bit.
Dude, again, as cliche and as, like, mainstream as it sounds, it just feels like pure expression.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like the kind of music these guys make is, like, screamy and, like, abrasive to the ears. Like, it's not everybody's piece of cake. Like,
Yeah.
not everybody's gonna enjoy it. But there's just something about it feels like just a raw form of expression. And, I mean, realistically, it feels like something I could see myself doing. Because I cannot see myself singing, maybe at least for the next 5-10 years. Like, I'm way too tone deaf for that. But that's why I kind of, like, get, like, inclinated towards hip-hop. Because it feels like something I could see myself doing too. And, yeah, it just feels nice to bounce back. Like, there have been moments where I've heard, like, some of their songs and, like, basically ripped it off. Made, like, with my own words, but, like, ripped it off.
But that's so, I mean,
Yeah.
that's such a thing, right?
It's-
like,
yeah,
with
it's-
so many artists, like, whether
Yeah.
it's even, like, drawing or music making, like, whatever, it's, like,
Yeah, yeah.
so much of that starts from literally just copying.
Just copying, yeah, it's
from
so
people that
derivative.
you-
Yeah, it's so derivative.
It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
so derivative. No,
Yeah.
literally.
And it's actually, like, a great thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very bad tragedy how a lot of artists are actually misinformed about this, which is that
Yeah.
there's both problems. I've seen one is people that demonize copying and sampling and this whole culture
Correct.
of, like, repurposing art to make
Yeah.
new art.
Yeah.
It has
Correct.
this demonized, like, perception in society.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
also the opposite of kids who feel frustrated or disappointed or just completely are unaware of their work having been done already.
Correct,
That
correct.
feeling
Yeah.
as well, like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I've made this, you think it's so original, but it's actually been
it's
done like
actually-
10
yeah.
times
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And I've seen
Correct.
kids like that in college and they get disappointed and it's like, bro, no, actually that
Yeah.
should be an exciting
Exactly,
thing.
Yeah.
exactly.
On one
That-
hand, it's like, that should excite you,
Yeah,
that somebody has made
that
what
there
you
is-
thought
yeah.
you made originally before.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like a sense of belonging when I
Yeah,
find
it's like
people
a
whose work
community.
is similar.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, there's people out there that were probably on the same shit as me.
Yeah,
like, when I was
exactly,
making this
exactly.
up.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
centuries ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
centuries
Yeah.
ago, or even if
Correct.
it's someone alive right now, it's
Yeah.
even more exciting.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I
Yeah.
want to find this person.
Yeah.
You know,
Correct,
like,
correct.
or the opposite, where it's like, if you have sample, like, that's actually really sick. We live in a
Yeah.
time
Yeah, where you
that's like, you
exactly,
can
you
do
can
that.
do that. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually-
And it's
do.
well known.
Exactly.
We were literally just talking about this whole Dochi thing with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
song
Ha, ha,
Anxiety.
in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And how it's like she's just taken the instrumental of somebody that I used to know by Gautier.
Correct,
Yeah.
And
correct.
everybody, like
Lost
people who probably not made a single thing in their life, like a single art piece in their fucking life,
Yeah, they
are
were
like,
freaking
how can
out,
she
yeah.
just do that? How can
Correct,
she
correct.
just make a song with
Yeah.
with this instrumental? This is not original, and it's
Correct.
like, but like. Which is just like the most like point blank thing is that he released it without a label. He intentionally released it with no copyright.
No, exactly.
From what I understand.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
It was a
nothing at all.
very community-driven.
Yeah,
like,
he
song,
was like,
yeah.
this is the people's song.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
barely
yeah.
had a music career after
Yeah, he
that.
barely made any money.
He
off
didn't
of
make
the
any
song.
money.
Yeah,
He barely
literally.
did, from what I understand. He did maybe like a handful of interviews and then just fucked off the scene
Yeah,
completely.
correct.
So
correct.
this was like the people's song
Exactly.
only. Like it was like anybody you
Yeah,
take it.
yeah.
B, it's
Correct.
like Dochi fully like made that her own.
Her own,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like she
exactly.
fully made it her own.
Correct.
So
correct,
it's
correct,
like
correct.
it's so frustrating when people just see something and then like that's like that's maybe even extremely derivative.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then
yeah,
they're
yeah.
just like, oh, like people who have literally never made a thing in their life, like they're never actually focused on
Yeah.
making
But
an
that's why
art
the
piece.
perception on it is flawed. Na?
Yeah.
They think
Hmm.
they associate art with some like innovative, original. Like every time it's some fucking nuclear physics shit is being discovered or something.
Exactly.
It's like no,
And it's
bro,
like,
it's
no,
not
but
about
art is-
that.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's like-
And
Exactly.
actually, I have a classmate in Richmond who had pointed this out once to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And in that time, I was in disagreement with him. But now I see how true he was.
Yeah.
Which is, he used to always say, like, why the fuck do people think, like, artists have to be useful members of society?
Yeah.
Like, who did that?
Like literally
Like,
that.
who decided
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
literally, it's actually the counterproductive. Like, artists have always been rebels and outcasts.
Correct.
You know, like, historically so. And it still is like that.
Yeah.
Prior what we would believe with now creative positions and all this in corporate, we think it's not like that, but actually it is like that still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where artists are kind of consistently outcasts, you
Yeah.
know, in most societies. And so, like, who the fuck decided that artists have to change the world
Yeah,
and save the
exactly.
world and all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
shit? Like, artists don't have that pressure on them, and
Yeah.
art should never be about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and again, this meaningless leads to it being meaningful.
Yeah.
Actually, that art is important because let it remain as that.
Yeah.
Let it remain as one of the few things we have in fucking life.
Let's not put on this
Yeah.
big pedestal.
Exactly.
Bro. Like, let me do this
yeah.
thing for fun.
Yeah.
like just please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you want to rip off Suicide Boys and like make a similar sounding
Literally.
Yeah,
song,
like, it
or
is
like
what it
have
is.
a
Even that
similar
Mickey
sound.
Jenky
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
I remember you made me hear the original.
Correct,
And
correct.
your version is what stuck in my head.
Sick. Yeah,
Yeah, like that was
correct,
the one
correct.
that was still looping in my
Can
head.
we play
Yeah,
it? Can
yeah.
we play it?
I'll play it on the.
Half like someone else's and half mine.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
Think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
so cool that like not
Yeah.
everything you make is even fully yours.
Yeah, correct.
You know?
No, I mean, I keep, like, ever since I think Ro told me this sort of formula or whatever, this way of thinking her teacher told her about treating your art as if it's a turd and not a baby. Like, that has just been living in my head rent free. Like,
Tell me more about
it's-
that.
I resonate with that so heavy because I used to really be way too emotionally attached to my art. Whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's a drawing. Like, I used to be way too emotionally attached. And at this point, I just realized, like, I'm happy just churning out projects or like making songs one after the other until one clicks.
Yeah.
Until it feels inspiring.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, just like digesting it instead of like holding on to them so dearly. And like, yeah, I feel like that is something which has helped a lot
Yeah.
in sort of disassociating, but sort of realizing when you should sort of connect with your art. Because a lot of it is like, there's so many projects of music that I have which are so bad. They're so bad. And I'm so glad I don't interact with them.
You should, before we go today, play your worst.
Yeah.
one.
Play
My
like
worst
play the one you
one.
hate the
like
most.
Inky
Shit,
Pinky Pong.
Yeah,
la,
like,
la, la.
I don't- yeah,
like,
I
Play
don't
the
know,
one that's
yeah.
like the least favorite.
like yeah.
So that's what I would call a burning desire. So like, do you think there's been something like that in your life that's kind of consistently just always been there?
Okay, so when I saw Yogita's interview yesterday, I really liked her answer. I thought safety was such a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about my own, like, if I were to answer that question, what would I answer? And I was struggling.
Yeah.
Like, I do not know what the burning desires other than like just umbrella terms for the same word, which is safety, which is independence, or like confidence, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, don't know. Like, honestly, I cannot think of like a burning desire. I feel like it's very dynamic. Like,
Changes.
it like changes. Like, there is this like core value of, again, not wanting to like rip Yogita's bit, but like of like safety. Like, there is this.
Ripping it.
We're ripping everything.
It's all derivative. It's all derivative.
No, I get what you mean.
But like, yeah, without like stealing her answer, it's more of the thing of like, yeah, like I feel like the common burning desire has just been like wanting independence, is wanting to be able to like do what I do and not be accountable to anybody else about that. Like, be able to survive, sustain, live my life in a happy sense, whatever that may mean, without like, without any other external connotation. That is, in a sense, the burning desire I could at least recognize. But like, beyond, as time goes, sometimes it's like financially motivated, sometimes it's like healthcare wise motivated, sometimes it's just generally like mental health therapy type motivated. But beyond that, I think that desire of just feeling independent, feeling like I can stand on my own 2 feet without any other sort of connotation, without feeling emotionally dependent on anybody, without feeling financially dependent on anybody, and without feeling like I owe the world anything. Like,
I see.
I'm kind of just doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and I'm happy doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to verbalize that better, but
And
Yeah.
do you feel like, by any chance, like, do you feel like art plays a role in this feeling? Like, where do you think art sits amidst this burning desire? Like,
yeah, I think art is like a very vital part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think beyond like the societal norms of like being an independent adult or whatever, a free adult or whatever, I think art is like a huge part of it. Of like, I don't know, just like actually tasting that sense of freedom.
Yeah.
In the sense that like it is just purely what you are making it to be.
yeah.
There are no other strings attached to it. And I mean, I feel like without art, that sense of freedom isn't like, what is that sense of freedom without art? Like your corporate, like you're making money, okay, sure, but freedom?
Yeah.
It's, So I feel like art is very, very tightly bound in it.
Cool. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
again
I get
very
that.
dynamic.
I get that. Like, again, I think what you're saying is like, art is like, if this freedom had a body, like art is like the soul of it.
Yeah.
Everything else is also equally important, but
Correct.
they are like the more like practical
Yeah,
parts of this
the
feeling.
second step
Like,
of
how will I
thinking.
experience freedom? Through money, through safety,
Yeah,
through
yeah,
independence. Like, you need these things.
Correct.
They're like important, so
Yeah.
important. You can't just be an artist.
Exactly. You can't deny the existence
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
But
correct.
what drives all of this is potentially...
is the soul of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, questions, concerns, observations?
Yeah, anything you just want
Anything
to share.
you want to share?
I'm just very, very proud of the both of you. I'm just very happy to see these like ADC interviews come to fruition, and like
Yeah.
every day I'm sure there is, but every week or so there's like this 1+1+1 thing that ADC is slowly building, which I just think is like awesome. Like it's so sick.
Sick.
So without the risk of brown nosing, like I really I
No,
really
but
am,
I
like,
think that's such that is such a, I don't know, like that's a like very fundamental part of who you are, which is just like always being like always looking forward, like genuinely very sincerely to what other people are doing in regards to art.
Yeah, I remember Ananya also said this about you, like when she started to get to know you, she was like, first I was so sussed out that Aman like wants to know what I'm doing so sincerely, and then she was like, and then I realized he's like actually like that.
Yeah,
like, he just,
no,
like,
no, like,
actually
for real,
gives a
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
about
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No, that's
you're so
good.
right. It's so
Yeah.
so Aman of him to end it also with
We're
turning
going
the
like-
finger back and saying,
Exactly.
"I'm so happy you
I'm
guys are
happy you
doing
guys
this."
are doing this.
It's a genuine thought.
No, it's
no,
awesome.
we know. Try.
Battery alchemy.
I just
This is so bad. It's so bad.